All right, hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is
January 3rd.
January the 3rd, 2020. I forgot the date and I nearly just forgot the year. We have a couple of topics today. That was kind of our goal for this year, is to do the same shows that we always did basically daily last year, but maybe a little bit more time efficient for all of you out there.
Well, there was no ATP Cup last year, so.
True, good
There's
point.
Continental Cup and a few other tournaments going on.
I will, you just mentioned the ATP Cup. I think that's predominantly what we're going to talk about today, or a few of the matches within, and a couple other off topics that Carla and I found ourselves talking about last night. So we're going to jump right in. So first off, the tournament ongoing now is the inaugural ATP Cup. That's taking place in Australia. And first of all, before we talk about tennis, much love and respect to everyone in Australia with these rather intense brush fires. Actually, I think they're consuming a large portion of the coastal areas of different, I guess, territories on the continent. It's getting a lot of coverage here in the United States. So hopefully everybody fends off well there. I think Nick Kyrgios was even jumping in on that, right, Carla? And
yeah, there's a lot of players who are actually donating money. I think Nick Kyrgios last night beat Struff, and he got emotional, and he's donating $200 to every ace. He did 20 aces in that match, so that was pretty impressive. And I think the Tennis Federation in Australia is donating $700,000. I saw people like Stozier, Demonor, all also chipping in to help. I can't imagine losing your home. So
yeah,
I
can't
imagine that. And
yeah.
It's hot. It's over. What was it that? Didn't we watch Cam Williams? He said it was. Well, he said the temperature in there, the way they say it, but I think it's over 100 degrees. They said.
Yeah, I mean the temperature is, and I don't know what it is in Celsius. I think that's the common denominator. The denomination.
30 something. He said.
So, but yeah, I think it's somewhere around like 110 or 120 degrees Fahrenheit dry. Anyway. Much love to everyone there, and you mentioned Cam Williams. I want to toss him in there a little bit later, because there's something that I want to kind of put together there with that. So anyway, couple of matches that
by the way, thank you Rajesh for the Christmas gift. It got here. He was a bit frustrated because it got here late. He sent us some dry fruits and some educational stuff for my little guy. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Let's go, Rajesh. Hopefully Rajesh plays fantasy team this year. I won't talk about that here though. All right, so I wrote only a couple of matches, and I don't want to take too much time up on just talking about two matches. But the first match that I want to talk about is the Steve Darcis, who is a Belgian tennis player. I think his career high was something like 38 in the world. Playing Alexander Kazbanov. I had not heard of this Moldovan tennis player. I think he's the Moldovan number 2 player. But there was a really good match on the ATP Cup here between these two guys. Steve Darcis, the veteran, against this number 2 Moldovan player, Alexander Kazbanov. At the same time I bring up that match, I do want to bring up the Tsitsipas Shapovalov match, and then compare and contrast the two matches in a sense. So here's my take real quick on the Steve Darcis versus Alexander Kazbanov match. Really good match. Epic. I won't say epic in the grand scheme of things, but for this first year inaugural ATP Cup, this was a very Davis Cup-ish feeling, deep digging, grinding match with ups and downs, and a really good, entertaining overall match, right? Now, in retrospect,
don't you think it's because maybe Moldova is a smaller country and they have more to fight for? They really don't have that many players.
Well, okay, so let me throw out the thesis, and then we'll discuss, and we can defend or go against kind of my thesis here. So one of the variables is how good that match was. On the flip side of that, the Tsitsipas Shapovalov match, I think we both said, Carla, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when the match started, we felt like Tsitsipas was going for too much too soon, and he was spraying balls kind of 6 inches a foot wide on average. And as a seasoned pro, I'm not saying it's abnormal. It can happen. Unforced errors pile up, but it just seemed like they were frivolously done, which indicated to us that we thought that maybe Tsitsipas, if he won easily, great. But if he was going to battle it out, maybe him and his dad, who's coaching the Greece team anyway, may have said, let's not burn up too much energy before you get a run at your first major. So I felt like that match was lackluster.
Well, I felt like usually the normal Tsitsipas could have ended points a lot sooner, and I felt like he was giving a lot of chances back to Shapovalov. I personally don't think if they were playing at the Australian Open, that match would have even been that close. There was a lot of shots that Shapovalov hit that were really not wonderful shots, and it seemed like Tsitsipas would just go for it. Go for broke. See what happens.
In other words, like I said, going for too much too soon. Now let's look at Shapovalov just for a moment. If you all have followed this channel for any time whatsoever, you both know that Carla and I are coaches, and we do our best to coach at a high, respectable level. I hit one-handed backhands. All of my 5 children hit with the one-handed backhand. I've been raised in the game. My father was raised in the game. I've been around a one-handed backhand in my entire life. And I have seen people leap and jump at their one-handed backhands since I was little.
He jumps on his forehand too a lot. I was watching him. He jumps on the forehand as well.
Yeah, so
both sides.
On either side of the court, or whatever wing you're hitting off of, left-handed or right-handed, when you jump in the air and leap at the ball and hit the ball, the margin for error increases. I've broken this down before, reason being, and I'll do it quickly. If my mind is locking onto a target, like a fighter aircraft locking onto a bogey, right? I'm following the aircraft. I want to lock onto my target so I can shoot a heat-seeking missile at it and knock the target out of the sky. The ball is my target. That's what I'm looking at. So when I'm set and I get down, whether on the forehand wing or on the backhand wing, then I mind on ball, stay on target, stay down, head on display, and let's go. So when you're pulling a trigger on especially on the one-hander, you're pulling the trigger as soon as the tension builds here and the tension is pulling away and you let it fly, okay? You are a 100% into the shot. If it's a topspin backhand and not a slice, obviously. I don't know why you want to leap at a slice. That would even be worse. But when you pull the trigger here, your mind is locked onto this spot. We want to keep the head down, and when we jump, here comes our sweet spot, a very small window of opportunity these days. You jump up, and here it comes, you're on target, now you leap. Okay. Now my ability to stay locked on target every time, it drops considerably. So when I see people like Dominic Thiem and Denis Shapovalov, especially those two, leaping and hitting the one-hander, leaping and hitting the forehand, I get it. It makes the highlight reels like Gael Monfils. I get it. It makes the highlight reels like Nick Kyrgios. In the grand scheme of things, the better players will beat you because they will exploit that shot continuously.
Well, if you look at Tsitsipas' backhand, he stays in the ground. By the way, his shots are unbelievable. His forehand, he doesn't do this whole loopy thing. It's like he starts high and then he comes forward. Very compact. Plus, he's got that Eastern grip as well. And then the backhand, same thing. So he doesn't really have to switch grips. Think about it. He's here.
Yeah, right. Very compact. Just here.
To switch grips.
Not some big loop.
No big loop. So Shapovalov is so loopy, and he jumps for everything. He goes down, and he comes. I think that's a waste of time if you're trying to win a Grand Slam. You don't have time for that. You watch Djokovic; he's pretty much here. Everything's forward. Same thing with Nadal is loopy, but there's some type of funky spin coming at you.
Nadal overcomes his ability to get away with that because of the amount of torque on his shots.
Yeah, but even better, it's more compact.
So. The moral of the story that I was, or the whole point why I brought up these two matches together, is why would you think, if you're following me, I don't know if you're following this or not, I don't think we've discussed this, but why would you think that the Kazbanov and Darcis match was without question a better match than a Tsitsipas Shapovalov match? Now, if these matches happened at the Australian Open, just like you said, I'm assuming that the Tsitsipas Shapovalov match would have been a much more intense. But what I'm getting at is the feel of the Kazbanov Darcis match was Davis Cup-ish. You know that Darcis is a veteran. He's 35, I think.
Well, these countries have more to fight for. And they're more even, too.
Yeah, it felt like they needed to play harder more. I'm sure that Darcis could use the income. I'm sure Kazbanov could use the income. I'm sure they could use some time in the media and the limelight.
I was reading that their anthem, they got the Moldova anthem wrong, too.
Well, at least Moldova's there and their team won.
Yeah, true.
Well, no, actually, I take that back. They lost. Steve Darcis won that match, and I think Belgium actually beat Moldova.
And well, Canada's up 3-0. We also watch
Elysium,
and he looked pretty good too.
All right, so why would you agree or disagree that the reason why the Darcis and Kazbanov match was better than Tsitsipas match is number one, because those two guys, Darcis and Kazbanov, obviously could use everything that comes along with an epic match in their favor: PR, money, sponsorship, etc. Whereas Tsitsipas, Shapovalov, it looked like Shapovalov was giving a pretty good match. At the same time, it looked like Tsitsipas really just didn't care too much, nor kind of his dad in a way. I hate to say that because he's coaching the team, but that's how we felt as coaches. If that's my player and I see that, I see him going for broke, it looks like he just doesn't want to be on the court very long.
Well, there's no way they were going to win any matches. I mean, Canada had their things stacked.
Yeah, and I think, and also too, that's a good point. Why would Tsitsipas risk his body with a major right around the block when there was really no chance of Greece doing any damage in the tournament? Anyway, the double fault, by the way, just in this topic, that Tsitsipas coughed up at match point. His first serve was like 7 feet wide. It wasn't even close, and the second one was pretty close, but it almost seemed like he just kind of kicked it long. But lastly, while talking about this Tsitsipas-Shapovalov match,
they played doubles together, by the way, Shapovalov and Shea Elysium, and they killed the Greece team.
Yeah, Canada's going to do pretty well this year. Hopefully, Raonic and Andreescu do good as well. But real quick, one of the reasons why I wanted to briefly mention this guy Cam Williams. If you don't know who I'm talking about, by the way, go to YouTube and look up Tennis Talk with Cam Williams. And let me explain why. This guy does a really good job. I don't know the guy, but I'm a big college football fan. Let me make a metaphor here. I watch college football a lot. Played some quarterback in my day, but when I watch college football, I turn down the volume on the television and I turn up the volume on the radio. And then listen to both. That is if it's local and it's on the radio. Why? Because the commentary is awful generally on television. Generally, it's from local people if it's on the radio, so it really gels well with your kind of environment. So I think last year, we do eBay stuff, right? We have a side kind of hustle with doing stuff on eBay, and I actually came across this guy looking up eBay videos because we thought about doing some eBay videos because we had such a good time with it. And we were like, hey, this guy does tennis. So long story short is if you go and see when this guy streams his videos, like it'll say like live one, and if you have a chance to have that match on a TV near you, if that's a possibility, then turn the volume down and put him on, and his commentary is really quite good, right?
Yes,
it's entertaining. The guy interacts with his people. There's no all the viewers on the side are actually good tennis minds. They're not a bunch of people cursing, and I think he must delete a lot of the comments, which is good. So he has really good energy. So check that out. And I just say that because in the world of tennis today, the comment...
And you'll have fun listening to his accent.
Yeah.
He's from Australia too, right?
Yeah, and I think we talked about the Fires yesterday.
Yeah.
But check it out. I mean, it's worth a shot. Also, too, if you don't have access to television and this is your only way to get scores, I couldn't think of a better way. He's just got a good energy about him. And last night, we were watching the Tsitsipas-Shapovalov match. And we realized he was doing a stream, and we kind of turned it up and down. We could see the score like a full game ahead, but we would just kind of rewind it and pause it because we have the ability to do that, and then make it unison and just go forward with it. But check it out, really good time. But the commentary in the U.S., besides Bethany Maddox-Sands, is pretty awful in tennis, and I think
it is. At Tennis Channel, some of their commentators are pretty blah.
No disrespect. I won't name names.
I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, like, I mean...
James Blake is one of the worst ones.
James Blake's dry and drab.
Very dry.
Chris Evert seems precocious, pretentious.
She's only on the Grand Slams. You won't hear her in the smaller tournaments. You got Shanna Rubin, too, who's pretty dry as well.
Yeah, McEnroe's good and funny, I guess.
He's only Grand Slams.
But he seems like it's more about him.
Yeah. But Bethany Maddox-Sands, she's very good.
Yeah, she's very good.
She's a mixed doubles champion, American player who had the same injury as Justin about, 2 years ago at Wimbledon?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Maddox-Sands ruptured her patellar tendon just like I did. It took her 2 years to return to tennis, so I'm hoping to beat that.
And I think her doubles partner was Safarova, who already retired from tennis and had a child just recently.
Didn't Bethany Maddox-Sands and Safarova win something like 10 to 12 majors?
They won a lot.
Something like that? I may have that off.
That's a lot. No, I don't think it was 10 to 12.
Look it up. Safarova Maddox-Sands majors. I think they won like 8. I may be wrong there, but anyway, moving forward, With that, there's one other commentator. There's Dan Patrick, who does U.S. commentating across all sports. He does a really good job. But Maddox Sands, Cam Williams, and Dan Patrick, they do a really good job.
She's won 1, 2, 3, 4 Grand Slams, 5 with her.
5
with her.
So 5 majors.
Yeah, and she has mixed doubles. She's won 1, 2, 3, 4 mixed doubles.
So she's got 9 in the bag.
Yeah.
All right, so
and gold.
So that's all I really have.
Well, there's a few matches. We saw Nick Kyrgios. Like I said, he beat Jan Lennart Struff, which was a good match for him, 6-4, 7-6. Germany's down 3-0. Boris Becker must not be happy because he's the coach for that team.
Oh, Boris Becker is coaching.
Yeah.
Hey, what about his?
Dima Noor defeated Zverev, who I heard double faulted a lot.
14 times. I was just fixing to say that.
That's common. I told him that's very common because he's always had an issue with his serve. No serve. There will be no Grand Slam in his future.
There's one of our viewers. Love this kid. I think he's in London. I think Gene Swart, who's always communicating with me. He projects Zverev will drop a considerable amount this year in rankings. I
think so.
I couldn't agree more. Here's a poll question. Who will drop more in the rankings this year? Berrettini, the Italian, or Berrettini, I think?
Berrettini,
or Zverev?
I think
Zverev. Who will drop more?
No serve, no game. Not in men's tennis.
14 double faults.
Women should get away with it. Look, Dementieva got away with it back in the 90s, with no serve. She would push the serve in. But in men's, you can't do that.
I mean, he should serve underhanded or something, like change it.
I don't know. Russia's up 3-0. Medvedev defeated Fognini in 3 sets. Khachanov defeated Tragvalia in 2 sets.
I forget. He's Italian, right?
This is the Italian team they defeated. Khachanov and Medvedev played doubles and beat Bolelli and Lorenzi. Then you have Bulgaria, who defeated Great Britain 2-1. Dimitrov beat Evans.
Let's go.
And then Nori beat Kuzmanov, which is from Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Both Dimitrov and Lazarov played doubles and they won.
So
USA down 1-2.
Oh, I heard that. I think Casper Ruud beat Isner. I think. Oh, by the way, speaking about Isner, I think Nicholas Mahut has hinted at retirement from singles and doubles. So every time I see Isner or hear about Mahut, I always think about the match that changed the dynamics of Wimbledon. And I won't get into that. I did a racket stringing video a year ago or so where I vented about that. Those two single-handedly caused Wimbledon to have a tiebreaker in the 5th set, which I completely disagree with.
Well, I'm sure Anderson, too, with this, Anderson and Isner playing didn't help either.
Look, if Anderson or Isner step on the court, you can count on it being like 7-6 to infinity, possibly.
Yeah, I think it's a shame they're even down 1-2 to Norway. I mean, Ruud is a good player, but I thought Isner was a better player than him. I'm shocked by that one. Fritz beat Durasovic, and then Ram and Krajicek lost to Ruud and Durasovic in doubles. Matches that are playing today.
Hey, wasn't Albot in there? Didn't
Albot plays for Moldova.
Yeah, didn't Albot beat somebody yesterday?
I have to look.
Huh, I have a lot of respect. Albot's a grinder. Albot can get down, and I forgot to write. Did I write that in? I don't think so. But Albot, I've seen Albot dig deep. So hey, I hope to see a lot from Albot this year. Don't forget about Lajovic or Laszlo Djiri, the 2 Serbian guys. I'd like to see Laszlo Djiri do some damage this year. So we'll see, right? Mm-hmm. You got more matches?
Yeah. Today Djokovic and Anderson are playing. Anderson's coming back after knee issue, so I think Djokovic will blow him. Lajovic plays Lloyd Harris.
I think that the vibe of the Anderson Djokovic match will be very much like the vibe of the Tsitsipas Shapovalov match. Kind of a tweak warm up, testing everything out. Now I think some of the smaller players, like the Darcis, Kosbanov guys, I think they're gonna dig deep and fight and grind it out. Let's go, fist, like get down, come on, boom, bring it, let's go. Hard hitting in your face type tennis, like I'm gonna beat you or you're gonna drag me off the court trying, right? But I don't think Anderson or Djokovic, just like Shapovalov, and I don't think they're gonna put in that type of energy.
Goffin played Albot, but Goffin would beat.
Oh yeah, that's right. Good call.
Djokovic and Troitsky are playing doubles together, so that should be fun to watch. Troitsky's a good player.
Troitsky was on the cusp of top 5 at one point. I think he was top 10. I think he had a little bit of maybe a substance abuse infraction that cost him. I don't know. I may be wrong there. So some of our Serbian viewers, if I have that wrong, don't shoot me. But
I don't think so.
Why was he suspended? Why was Troitsky suspended?
Victor
Troitsky. He was suspended for a while. And if I have that wrong, I'm sorry. I'll do 10 push-ups on the next show. But I can almost assume. I think he served the suspension. But I can't be 100% sure.
We know Troitsky's been a very
But I think he was suspended. Troitsky suspension? Does anybody know?
Let's see. Choiski was suspended, yes, for anti-doping in 2013.
That's
for
what I
18
thought.
months he was banned.
So again, just kind of like Sharapova, you know, there's different stories for different folks. You know, this guy gave it to me and I didn't know, or this was for a cold, and we didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't know I put steroids in my
You know,
blood.
I mean, who are some other players? Didn't Hingis go through it? Didn't her boyfriend at that point in time? What was his name? The one-hander with the custom butt on his grip? Gasquet.
I didn't know that was her boyfriend.
I don't know. I've just said that. Anyway, look at Richard Gasquet's grip on his racket. If you ever watched Gasquet play, he uses that proverbial head racket that's bright yellow. If you look at his grip, he has at the bottom, he has like this big donut. I wonder if that really helps hold that grip with that one-hander. If you look at the bottom of Gasquet's grip, it looks like a big donut molded onto the bottom of his racket. If anybody has any info on that, let me know. I'd love to hear it.
Well, Nadal also plays today against Bashvili, and he's playing doubles with Karina Busta.
That could be another good match there. I think Bashvili will go hard, but I don't know how hard. I don't know how hard Nadal will go, or if it's in his best interest to do that anyway. If I was Nadal, I wouldn't go very hard. It'd be stupid to, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the women start their tournament.
And same for Djokovic and Anderson. If I was those three mega tennis stars, I don't think I would go that hard here. I would wait.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have. Thanks everyone as always for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're okay to go.
Yeah.
So we'll see you tomorrow, and
We'll talk about Djokovic and Nadal. See how they do, how they look.
And I think we start getting coverage for that here around 5 p.m. I think Central Standard Time.
And then the women start. There's not a premiere international, but we'll watch that too.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. If you have any interest for our prize giveaways and fantasy team selections, see the playlist Australian Open 2020 prize giveaway and fantasy team competitions, and all the information is there to win a Yonex V-Core 97 or Ytex or 5K tennis strings and apparel. As always, take care. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button below, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Adios.